Not many people feeling patriotic in Joe Biden's America this 4th of July. And it's really no wonder with an out-of-touch White House telling Americans suffering to just suck it up. According to a new Fox News poll, just 39% of Americans are proud of where the country is today, which is down 12 points from a 2017 and a whopping 30 points since 2011. It marks the first time a majority feels disappointed in this country. And as Americans feel the heat from raging inflation and astronomical gas prices, the White House is doubling down on their deal with it philosophy.
How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war?
As long as it takes. So Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine. This is a critical position for the world.
Well, what do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
And if people think we're on the wrong track, the White House thinks you just need to be reminded how awesome things really are.
85% of U.S. adults say the country is on the wrong track. 85%. That's up from 68% in March. It appears that increasingly the American people do not approve of what this White House is doing.
But these are uncertain times, and when prices are high, people are understandably frustrated. We have, and also remind the American people that even as we go through this challenging period, even as we move through this transition, we also have made historic economic progress.
You know, Joey, that guy Deese, the Economic Council director, I mean, when he points to the fact that, you know, the fact that the majority of Americans feel disappointed in the country right now, he says, you know, they just are not looking at how great the economy is. This guy is in charge of the Economic Council for the White House.
You know, if one more person on this network says it's the economy, stupid, I'm gonna lose it. Like I hear it all day on every network. That's where Americans are. And I believe that's true when it comes to our politicians. But when we talk about being disappointed in this country, I think it's cultural. I think the left looks at our country and they see our prosperity as a symbol of oppression. Centuries of oppression. They see the rejection of CRT or the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade, and they say we're still under the thumb. It's the midwives' tale or whatever that's called. The right looks at woke culture.
Whatever. I'm sorry.
It's not. Yeah. The right looks at CRT. They look at woke culture and they see the decay of what makes this country great to them. And to an extent, they're kind of both right. Not that I believe that something like what the left talks about is oppression, but there was before the societal expectation of just presenting yourself and speaking respectfully and making a point without having to glue yourself to something. And the right sees the decay of that as losing what makes us great. So both sides, especially through our political representatives that play into this, see us in a really bad place.
But the question, Dagan, don't you think the question is how they feel about the country today? And 85% of the people think we're headed in the wrong direction. So it's pretty clear how they feel about the country. Is that different from whether or not they love the country?
It does play into it because the country has gone in a horrible direction under Biden Incorporated by any and every metric. It's worse than when Biden took office. Biden was supposed to be like a palate cleanser, like a champagne sorbet. Instead, he's like an old crab cake that you paid $5,000 for. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and you're probably going to get food poisoning from it. To Joey's point, though, the liberal default about being a proud American is not being proud. The default for conservatives historically is you are proud. Mm-hmm. And this bears out in the numbers where among Republicans, being American pride has fallen by 28 points since 2017 and then 21 points among independents. And that is because of the direction of the country. Like when you say, for Republicans, yeah, we're out at Walmart or the Wawa buying a koozie, you know, with Proud American on it, and that's right. And for liberals, that, you know, that just you ask them, oh, are you proud of the United States? And they go, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. All
And
right.
so it's still even.
That's what Jessica said in the green room earlier.
Yeah. But, you know, Jessica, when the president says that the Americans should expect to continue to pay these high prices, high gas prices, and I expect the food prices and inflation and everything else until Russia is defeated in Ukraine, what if Russia's never defeated in Ukraine?
Well, that's increasingly what people who used to be in the military and on air are commenting are saying that. I went to a talk recently with Admiral McRaven, and he said unless we kind of proverbial, you know what, or get off the pot, we're just going to be stuck in this place for a very long time. And the expectation is that, yes, Putin thought originally I can do this in 30 days. Now that he knows that that's not possible, he can wait it out for the rest of time. I mean, he can just stand there. And yes, we have made bigger moves. I mean, we sent in new missile systems this week that should change the game a little bit, but Putin has nothing but time, and we don't. The messaging on this has been extremely poor. Everybody understands that we are part of a global economy. That's not a hard concept for folks to understand. But when it seems like you don't have a choice in terms of what you are paying for, that's something that rubs people the wrong way. Because I think if you said, oh, we could scale back a little bit, or maybe, you know, put a few troops on the ground, or build up in Poland, for instance, and get you $1 off your gas bill, I think that people would say, generally speaking, I want $1 off my gas bill, since they have tethered those things so closely together, which I actually don't think is the reason that this is happening. On the Proud American front, I think Dagan is right that the way that liberals and conservatives talk about patriotism is just fundamentally different. I don't think that it means that we actually love the country any differently. This trend did start in 2017. That includes 3 years of the Trump era. This is not just Biden walked into office and suddenly everyone decided that we hate it here. But the way that folks talk about this is important to take into account when evaluating our varying degrees of love for America.
You know, Greg, one of the lines that really concerned me was when Deese, I think it's Deese again, the economic council guy, says, you know, the future of the liberal world order is at stake. Did we elect this guy to change the future of the liberal world order, Joe Biden?
It's actually, this is a really big deal. But I'm just so tired of hearing you people talking about where is the pride in America. We just had a full month. We just had a full month of pride, you guys. Oh, wait, that wasn't about being an American. That was about sexual orientation. You could do that for a month. You better do that for a month. Your company better send emails on that for a month. But if you talk about patriotism, that's so old school, old fashioned. What a scary, fast trip from America first to America last. That liberal world order phrase used to be something you might hear somebody on infomercials say. InfoWars say. But it was actually said out loud. That one soundbite should be in every commercial for every Republican campaign. You should play that liberal world order blurb to truckers, to parents buying food, to delivery workers, because it's one of the biggest reveals in political history. They're saying, yeah, you know what? The greater global good means your suffering doesn't matter. True, it's very Stalinist. People will die, but you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. Of course, you never see the omelet. All you see are the broken eggs. It's a very honest comment. And we're learning that the administration just isn't that into us being America's. So what is the Democratic Party offering to people? You're either woke or you're broke, right? Woke destroys the internal organs of a country. Everybody's fighting each other. Then you have the New World Order, which is the external breakdown. We're fighting a war thousands of miles away, right? And that trumps our gas prices. We're willing to accept perhaps world famine even, and our own local misery for a war that won't end because both sides, according to both sides, are winning, and we're fueling this war and billions and billions of dollars. And there is a price for everything, including war, which is why Trump had it right, which is you drill, you become energy independent, so international turmoil has no effect on you. But you can't have it both ways. You can't want cheap oil and then go to war against the people that supply the oil. Although it's only 8 or 9%.
It's not a problem for us. It's a European problem.
Yes, but well, I mean, well, Biden clearly says it's a problem for us, and he's happy.
That's his excuse.
Yes.
But Biden gave them the waiver for Nord Stream, and while he shut down the American oil and gas. So I mean, it's the whole thing is a frightening situation.
Yeah, go ask Texas about the liberal world order.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to understand, that is something, that is a gift from heaven.
Yeah.
That they said it.
Yeah.
That they actually came out and said it.